is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
With the best, I got to give it to him. Bud, the best, right? He's hands down, he's the best. He's the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him respect no matter what. You got to give him respect. He just went up 2 weight classes, what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion. I've only won one of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith directly challenged Floyd Mayweather for dismissing Terence Crawford after his win over Canelo. Smith declared that Crawford had achieved something historic, noting that no fighter had ever matched his feat of becoming undisputed in multiple weight divisions. He emphasized that Crawford rightfully earned his legacy and deserves full recognition, not doubt. Smith argued Crawford's victory over Canelo was far more than just another fight, but a career-defining moment that secured his place among the greatest. He insisted Mayweather's criticism could never diminish Crawford's extraordinary achievement.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance.
Jeff Mayweather voiced firm opinions about the shot Crawford delivered to Canelo, stressing the defeat would always stain Canelo's legacy. To him, Canelo was the undeniable king of the division, holding both reputation and dominance over rivals. Yet he endured a humbling defeat at the hands of a challenger who rose in weight to face him in his own domain. For Jeff, this was not a minor flaw, but a lasting scar that will forever accompany Canelo's record in boxing history. He underlined that prime champions are judged by defining moments, and Canelo's defining one became a crushing loss to Crawford.
But either way, he was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What did this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he got, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on him because even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever and an absolute master. In Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. Because, the one thing is this is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because, he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing, losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might have been.
Stephen A. Smith was overwhelmed by Crawford's victory and openly expressed his admiration. He underlined being present for this historic event, making the moment even more personal for him to see firsthand. Smith stated no one in boxing history had done what Terence Crawford accomplished, moving up in weight to convincingly beat a dominant champion like Canelo. He described it as a career-defining success that separates Crawford from all others, ensuring the night will endure forever in the sport's history. For Smith, it was more than a contest, but a dramatic shift in how boxing greatness is measured.
This was Terence Bud Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because he only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence Bud Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, I was there. Because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
Crawford's trainer was adamant after the fight that his fighter had nothing further to prove. In his mind, Terence had reached a level where respect should be automatic. Still, some critics continue to deny it. This frustration highlighted that even after dismantling one of the sport's biggest names, Crawford still faces battles outside the ropes. His trainer stressed that Terence is not considering another fight at this stage, since defeating Canelo is more than enough to seal his greatness. For Crawford, this was no longer about chasing opponents. It was about building a legacy beyond dispute.
Terence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who's one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who is 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. Stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch army and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up and he never accepted the fight. And so with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terence Crawford. And they're saying that Terence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terence Crawford is ducking and Terence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24,
Timothy Bradley delivered one of the strongest comparisons by measuring Crawford directly against Floyd Mayweather. He claimed Crawford's name now firmly belongs at the peak of any all-time great discussion. Bradley insisted it was not just about Crawford's win over Canelo. It was about reshaping the very idea of what pound-for-pound number one represents. He emphasized that while Floyd mastered the craft of boxing in his era, Crawford just showed he can excel at an even higher level by conquering Canelo at his best. For Bradley, this triumph moved Crawford into a realm shared only by the sport's true legends.
It might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? You see, I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real, and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his resume down.
Roy Jones Jr. shared a balanced view, noting that unlike when Floyd Mayweather defeated Canelo years ago, this time both men were in their prime. He explained that Floyd benefited from fighting a young, inexperienced Canelo, which allowed him to outclass him with superior skills and ring IQ. By contrast, Crawford faced a fully developed and seasoned Canelo, the same one who had ruled his division for years. Despite being the smaller man, Crawford still managed to dismantle him. For Roy, this fact alone made Crawford's achievement remarkable, since he overcame a Canelo who was far stronger, sharper, and more mature than the one Mayweather fought.
Operational great in Canelo Alvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does, and the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to fight it, and he found a very vulnerable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think he's on decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. the age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights would have put him there, and the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time to see them fight.
Duke McKenzie was amazed by what unfolded inside the ring. In his eyes, Canelo had no solutions for Crawford's relentless pressure, blazing speed, and surgical precision. He called the performance unbelievable and incredible, describing it as one of the most complete displays in modern boxing. McKenzie emphasized that Crawford not only became undisputed, but also proved himself nearly unbeatable even against the toughest opposition. His words carried awe and respect as he declared that Crawford has now set a standard so high that very few, if any, fighters will ever be able to match it.
That feeling, do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight, not way before the fight. You know, in the build-up to this fight, Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight. You know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable. And Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense, went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs. You know, hitting him with the head and the body. The little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close a round, knowing how to win rounds.
Trainer Robert Garcia delivered one of the strongest validations of Crawford's greatness, arguing that in this context he achieved more than Floyd Mayweather. He pointed out that Crawford convincingly won 9 to 10 rounds against Canelo and displayed a relentless hunger that Floyd never attempted at such a risky level. Garcia stressed that Mayweather never took the challenge of moving up and dominating a bigger champion in this way, making Crawford's win both unique and historic. For Garcia, this went beyond titles or statistics. It was about daring to take risks and succeeding, the very trait that separates legends from icons.
Canelo has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't. I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see that those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised at how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three-time, 3-division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's 3-division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this, or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing. If Canelo doesn't have any changes, if he doesn't, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But I would be so happy to hear he retired.
Brian Norman Sr. left no uncertainty when he declared that Terence Crawford's dismantling of Canelo Alvarez was far harsher than anything Floyd Mayweather had ever done. His statement resonated with both fans and analysts because it captured the reality of what occurred in the ring. Canelo, long considered the king of his division, was not merely beaten. He was systematically taken apart by a man who had climbed 2 weight classes to face him. Crawford's showing was a masterclass that redefined greatness in modern boxing. For years, Canelo Alvarez ruled the super middleweight division. He carried himself as the sports face, fought the top names, and cemented his reputation as one of the most marketable champions of his era. His reign made him look almost untouchable as challengers crumbled under his combinations and measured pressure. Yet, in one night, Crawford shattered that image. What stunned observers was not only the outcome, but the manner in which it unfolded. Canelo was not edged on the scorecards or merely worn down. He was outclassed, left searching for answers that never appeared.
I bet against Bud on quarter. I didn't think that Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He's hands down. He's the best. He's the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do, and he is doing it with ease.
Right.
You got to respect that.
Break it down for me. How did he win that fight in the way you want it tonight?
He won the fight by taking Canelo respect. I think he was already in Canelo head a little bit. I think that even though Canelo knew he was smaller and everything else, these fighters are still human and they hear what people are saying. Canelo was, Crawford was undefeated. Look at what he did to the Spence. I mean, look at what he's doing to some of these people. So no matter what, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what he did against Primo or whatever else, you got to take into consideration what Bunny has been known to do when it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think Canelo respected him, and I think that was a big part.
Yeah, Canelo just said in the press conference that Crawford's better than Mayweather, having shared the ring with both. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things that's opinionated in the situation with the Styles being fight. He beat him up. He beat Canelo up worse than Mayweather beat him up. He definitely did that. So in that case, you can ask the question: did he beat him up worse than Floyd did? Absolutely. But that would be an opinionated thing with the Styles being fight. You never know. You know what I'm saying?
Different eras.
Yeah, different eras. It's a different a lot of things.
Yeah.
Andre Ward, a legend himself, placed Crawford's triumph into proper historical perspective. He called it a generational fight, one that fans will remember for decades as a defining moment in boxing. Ward explained that such nights are what build legacies and separate great fighters from eternal legends. What struck him most was Crawford's discipline, remaining calm, sharp, and intelligent throughout the fight, never letting emotions interfere. For Ward, this was a GOAT moment that pushed Crawford into the discussion of the greatest fighters in history. By dismantling Canelo so convincingly, Crawford lifted himself onto a pedestal where only a rare few fighters have ever stood.
What was your thoughts on that performance from Canelo, from Terence?
Terence Crawford is a great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight, and he did that at 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there. there, the power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So what more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we doing?
That's it for today's video. Keep watching, until next time.